Please, let's take the national pledge. Let's stand and take the national pledge. Program schedule. For the program schedule, we are done with the delegates' arrival. But before that, we are here for United Nations International Day of Peace Summit 2024. Today is 21 September 2024, and every 21 September of each year, UN observe what we call International Day of Peace. So from the program schedule, we are going to the second section, which is opening speech by the UNYA-NIGEria president. So the president's speech. The United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator Nigeria, His Excellency Mohammed M. Malik IV, the Director, United Nations Information Center, UNIC Nigeria, Dr. Ronald David Kenyaja, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the guest speaker, Engineer Ogazie Chikezie Ugonna, Convener Child Plus Africa, the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria members here present, the non-registered members of the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria here present as delegates, gentlemen of the press. Today, we gathered in Abuja, the federal capital territory of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the International Day of Peace Summit to commemorate the United Nations Day of Peace. Theme: cultivating a culture of peace. The International Day of Peace was established in 1981 by the United Nations General Assembly. 2 decades later, in 2001, the General Assembly unanimously voted to designate the day as a period of non-violence and ceasefire. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly's adoption of the Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace. In that declaration, the United Nations' most inclusive body recognized that peace not only is the absence of conflict, but also requires a positive, dynamic, participatory process where dialogue is encouraged and conflicts are solved in a spirit of mutual understanding and cooperation. In a world with rising geopolitical tensions and protracted conflicts, there has never been a better time to remember how the UN General Assembly came together in 1999 to lay out the values needed for a culture of peace. These include respect for life, human rights, and fundamental freedoms. the promotion of non-violence through education, dialogue, and cooperation, commitment to peaceful settlement of conflicts, and adherence to freedom, justice, democracy, tolerance, solidarity, cooperation, pluralism, cultural diversity, dialogue, and understanding at all levels of society and among others. In follow-up resolutions, the General Assembly recognized further the importance of choosing negotiations over confrontation and of working together, not against each other. The Constitution of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, starts with the notion that wars begin in the minds of men. So it is in the minds of men that the defense of peace must be constructed. It is this notion that framed the theme and logo of this year's observance of the International Day of Peace. The ideas of peace, the culture of peace need to be cultivated in the minds of children and communities through formal, informal education across countries and generations. In conclusion, we commemorate the United Nations Day of Peace. We implore all humanity in Nigeria and across the globe to commit to peace above all differences and to contribute to building a culture of peace. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the United Nations. Ambassador Dr. Eze Ihechukwu, President, United Nations Youth Association, Nigeria. Thank you.
No round of applause for the President. Thank you for this very captivating speech. Next, I would like to welcome the guest speaker for this summit, Engineer Ogezi Kiki.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If you don't mind, I will stand. Okay. Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor. I do not take it for granted. Thank you, President. Thank you to the DJs. Some of my friends here. You're all welcome. Thank you for being possible. Thank you for sacrificing this time to be here today. My speech is not going to be as formal as the President's. I'm not good at formal things. I will try to be direct, simple, and straight to the point. I try to do things the way they are. I'm not going to talk about global peace. I'm not going to talk about peace between nations and how the United Nations comes in between to make sure the world is peaceful. I'm going to bring everything down to Nigeria. Today, 21st of September, globally, has been set aside as World Peace Day or International Day of Peace by the United Nations. It's a day that represents our collective aspiration, our collective desire to have peace, to have to stay in a world free of conflict, a place free of war, free of pain. We want to be as happy as possible. We live in a world right now where the headlines are full of conflicts. If you turn on your radio, all you hear is all kinds of conflicts. You hear all kinds of situations that make you very sad. In fact, everything around you seems to be targeting, making you unhappy. Everything seems to be trying to take your peace away. You hear of communities fighting each other. You hear of even the citizens protesting against the government. You know what happened recently here in Nigeria, you know what happened in Kenya. You hear of, even in families, you hear of husbands and wives at loggerheads. And each time people are trying to make peace. They set up committees for peacemaking, all kinds of things. You hear of people going for peace-making war-torn areas. Everything around you is almost targeting taking your peace away. And I want to bring everything down to Nigeria. I don't want to talk about anything global because the issue of peace is too vast. It's not something that can be discussed in a meeting like this. So I need to tailor it down. Even just traveling on the roads in Nigeria, you don't have peace until you get to your destination. Each time you try to, let's say, you hear of kidnapping, you hear of all kinds of things, you're just not at peace at all. And today is World Peace Day. How do we achieve peace in the world? Is it even possible in the first place? Is it even possible to attain peace? Even today that has been declared World Peace Day, I can assure you, so many people are not at peace. If not, most of the world are not at peace, even as much as today is World Peace Day. But the truth is that peace is a dream that is possible. It's a reality that is possible. But it's also a reality that you and I, only you and I, can make it, can bring to pass. Only you and I, yes, I mean you and I, it's possible. I'm sure you're wondering, how can we do it? So, today, the big question is why? Why like this? I want to tailor this thing down to a very simple thing that I'm sure you don't consider. If you ask our leaders today, why is there so much crisis? Kidnapping, stealing, all kinds of things are happening. I'm sure they will not give you this idea for that. I just identified one little thing: inequality. I want to talk about inequality. Once there's inequality, there can never be peace. Many years ago, when I was in secondary school, I was a junior student. I had an elder sister in the same school with me. I was in every student, and I have one of my classmates here today. I was in the Federal College for the Federal States. And we were about going back to school, and the driver was waiting, and my dad called me and gave me, I think that was 50 naira. 50 naira there was a lot of money. And now gave my sister 90 naira, my other sister. When he gave me 50 naira, I was happy. I said, thank you. In my very presence, he gave my sister 90 naira. And I lost my peace. It was so serious that I ran into the room and started crying. I was like, why would my dad give me 50 naira and give my sister 90 naira? Are we not in the same school? Are we not spending the same way? I was just see that he doesn't love me as much as my sister. He respects my sister. So many things were going through my mind. I was crying. I told one of my siblings to walk up to my dad and told him I was crying. He came to me, asked me what it was. I told him, you gave me 50 naira, he gave you here 90 naira. He smiled. He gave me another 50 naira. And still gave my sister another 40 naira. And he now said to me, ladies have needs. Have other needs that you don't know about. I didn't understand the way, but I left it at that. What was the problem? Inequality. I felt there was a discrimination. I felt we were not treated equally, and I lost my peace. And that is exactly what is happening today. Most times people lose their peace when they feel they are not giving equal attention to others. I remember also many years ago, I was posted to work as a young engineer. My boss sent me to work at Prosper State, Abuja. And there was this engineer there who was senior to me, a more senior engineer, more experienced, and very efficient too. But for reasons known to my boss, he preferred me. He gave me a better official car, he gave me a better house, and while I was there, he was now relating with me as if I was the one heading the project. He was not even related to the guy. Your guess is as good as mine. There was no peace on that side. Because of course the guy felt, He's a junior engineer. Why all this? So I had to go and pay homage. I had to find a way. I had to use wisdom. Pay homage to him. Make sure that he felt. I had to massage his ego. Make sure that he felt very good for us to be able to work at peace there. So inequality is one major reason there is no peace. Even in Nigeria today, you see some sections of the country talking about marginalization. That's the inequality we're talking about. But I'm about to come to the very point I want to make today. I was introduced as a convener of Child Loss Africa. What do? We try to bridge the inequality between children. And that is the major cause of our problem in the country today. Now let me remember, it was Awolowo, Awolowo, let's remember that state. The children of the poor will refuse to educate. It will be the reason our own children will not have peace. Awolowo said that many years ago. He said the children of the poor will refuse to educate. It will be the reason our own children will not have peace. I can tell you that is the reason there is no peace in Nigeria today. We have over 20 million children that do not go to school. Are you aware? Do you know that? Over 20 million children in Nigeria do not go to school. It's an epidemic situation. I think it's the highest statistics in the world about school children. What do those children do? They're on the streets. Let me read these statistics to you. Okay, a joint survey in 2022 by National Bureau of Statistics and ILO is a international labor organization, and Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment shows that 24,673,485 children between the ages of 5 and 17 are involved in child labor. 2/10. Over 20 million children don't go to school. Then we have over 24 million children that are involved in child labor. They're on the streets hawking, like construction sites, doing all kinds of things to survive. It's a terrible one. This is about 40% of our children. About 40% of our children in Nigeria. And the worst part is that 60.8 of these children we're talking about are between the ages of 5 and 11. They're between the ages of 5 and 11. And we're talking about having peace. And yet, we say that these are the future of Nigeria. These are the leaders of tomorrow. They are our future. So if almost half of our future are on the streets, uneducated, what will our future look like? I'll tell you exactly what happens, and that's why we don't have peace. These children are invisible. What do I mean by they're invisible? No one is seeing them. We're all seeing them, but we're not seeing them. Abnormal things in Nigeria have become normal. I can bet you that when you walk on the streets right now and you see a child in labor, do what kind of labor? You don't even stop and say, what's going on? They're invisible. You just walk past. It's a normal thing. Am I lying? These children are in the streets. They are invisible. The government is not seeing them. But that's not the bad part. The bad part is that even you and I are not seeing them. Now what happens to them? The few people that see them, the people that most likely see them, are the criminals. Give them 1 year on the streets, a few months on the streets, 1 or 2 years on the street, to make friends on the streets. And they make friends with criminals. Those criminals buy them biscuits. Those criminals buy them food. Those criminals tell them, come and join us, we'll help you. That's where they're stealing love from. And what happens? In a short while, they become criminals themselves. If you ever been kidnapped, God forbid, I have been. you find that the people that kidnap you are very young lads. Very young lads. It's a crazy situation right now in Nigeria. The reason we are not having peace is because we have refused to see these children. They are under the streets every day, learning hard drugs, learning how to. Now they have to survive. So how will they have peace? And that is the story of Child Plus Africa. That is why Child Plus Africa is. That is what we do. We try to take as many children off the streets and back to the classroom. Every child deserves to be in the classroom. No child deserves to be there on the streets. Once they are educated, I assure you, the crisis we see in the society will be, then we can begin to have peace. So cultivating the culture of peace. The culture of peace, that's the title of that's the theme of the day. How do you cultivate the culture of peace? Very simple. Humanity. There's a child close to you that does not go to school. I can assure you. Each and every one of us here. It could be your compound, it could be your village, your family, it could be somewhere around you. But I can assure you that there's one child around you. That's what you want. What have you done? What have you done? You just pass on and say, okay, I pray for you. Or do you just pray for them? What do you do? A friend of mine was discussing with me one day, and I was telling him my passion, telling him what we're doing for children, telling him what's going on, why this society is the way it is now. I didn't know he was so touched. The next day he called me on the phone. He told me that he's been pondering over what I was saying. That he takes 2 bottles of beer every day after work just to calm down. And he just told himself that if he reduces to 1 bottle every day, he can affect the child. That he can affect the child. I was moved when he said that to me. There are very little things you can do that will make a difference. Humanity does not need being I remember so many years ago when this passion was boiling in my heart, I was restless. I really wanted a way to reach out to thousands of children. And I didn't have the money. But something just came to my spirit one day, one child at a time. One child at a time. And that was what I did. One child at a time. Now we have hundreds of children in school. Free of charge, completely. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to have peace. How do we get a culture of peace? The answer is simple. Money. It's not about having so much money. It's not about speaking so much grammar. It's not about being in the position, maybe if you are a president or a governor. It doesn't work that way. You and I, let's start from where we are. Let's start from our neighborhood. Let's look at these children because they're the ones that make it possible for us to have peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful speech. So now we're going to have a speech from our foreign envoy. Yeah, from UK, Ireland, and Europe. So it's going to be presented by the President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for blessing to take this ceremony. The convener, Child Plus Africa. Child Plus Africa, based in River State, is an NGO. Their main duty in Nigeria is to keep street children off the street, back to school. We have a school, and also sponsor children across the federation, different schools across the federation. Yeah, when we see you in the street, you came from a less privileged one, we will pick you off the street back to school, and you will sponsor your education from primary, secondary, to university. It has many children sponsoring in the school as we talk right now. He also has a school in Rivers State. So, seeing what he's doing, I said no. You must come on board. The United Nations must take notice and note of what you are doing. We must celebrate you. You must come and tell the world what you are doing. And those things breed peace. They breed peace because those children in the streets, they cultivate nuisance, they disrupt the peace. Then when you take them off the street back to school, you see there will be peace in those communities or in those states. So thank you so much, sir, for what you are doing. For your contribution in education, free education, quality education, and building of peace in Rivers State and in Nigeria at large. This is not included in our program schedule, but he pleaded. We have 2 foreign envoys, one in Canada, one in UK. And one in UK sent a speech to present. So please, just 5 minutes, I'll read the speech, then we'll continue with our program schedule. So his name is Ambassador Kehinde Sodipo, the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Foreign Envoy in UK, Ireland, and Europe. This is his speech. International Day of Peace Summit on cultivating a culture of peace. Sorry, this you guys will come outside. Last. Good day, distinguished guests, fellow youths, and advocates for peace. It is a privilege to stand before you today on this significant occasion as we come together to reflect on the theme of cultivating a culture of peace. We gather not just to talk about this, but to explore the ways we can actively foster it in our communities, particularly in Nigeria, where tribal rifts are sadly being fueled for political gain. The tribal divisions we see today are not natural. They are often carefully orchestrated and encouraged for self-serving political processes. Nigeria, a nation rich in cultural diversity, has always thrived on the strength that this diversity brings. However, in the recent years, we have seen these differences weaponized, creating a growing sense of distrust among communities. These divisions are not accidental. They are man-made tools that serve to benefit a few at the expense of the many. Relatable examples: elections and ethnic tensions. Let me start with an example many of us recognize: elections. Each election cycle, we witness politicians capitalizing on tribal sentiments to secure votes, instead of focusing on issues that unite us, such as education, healthcare, job creation. Politicians often appeal to ethnic loyalties. We have seen regions pitted against each other with fear and suspicion replacing cooperation and understanding. The violence and unrest that often follow elections and direct consequences of these manipulations. Another relatable example: social media and tribalism. Another example is social media, which should be a platform for unity and dialogue. Instead, it is often used to amplify tribal prejudices. Politicians and influencers spread misinformation, promoting a narrative that one tribe is better or more deserving than another. This fosters a culture of intolerance among the youth. We are the future of our country. Consequences for the youth: as young people, we are most affected the opportunities for employment, education, and development become limited. In an environment where tribalism reigns, young Nigerians in Nigeria in different parts of the country begin to see one another as rivals than partners in building a better future. This undermines the collaborative spirit that is essential for progress. The way forward: solutions, education, and awareness campaigns. The first step towards addressing the issue is through education. We must create campaigns that promote national unity and celebrate our shared values. Our schools should teach the importance of coexistence and the mutual respect, highlighting the dangers of allowing tribalism to divide us. Political accountability. Politicians should exploit tribal sentiment. Politicians who exploit tribal sentiment should be held accountable. We must demand better from our leaders, focusing on tribal track records and policies rather than ethnic affiliations. As young people, we have the power to challenge this narrative through our votes, activism, and civic engagement. Social media, regulation, and responsibility. Social media has become a powerful tool in shaping opinions, especially among the youth. It is important for us to use it wisely. Social media platforms and government regulators should work together to curb hate speech and misinformation. More importantly, each of us should be responsible for what we share and promote online. We can choose to spread messages of peace rather than division. Youth participation in governance. The youth must take an active role in governance, not just as voters but as leaders. By getting involved in decision-making processes, we can ensure that policies are geared towards inclusion, equity, and national unity. It is time for the youth to stand as ambassadors of peace and reject any attempt to use tribalism for political gain. Promoting dialogue. Dialogue is crucial in resolving misunderstandings. We must create platforms where people from different tribes can come together to discuss common issues and solutions. Initiatives like youth-led peace summits, cultural exchange, and community development projects can help break down the barriers that tribalism creates. Conclusion. A call for action. The Office of the Envoy wishes to make a clearer call on government, traditional and religious leaders, and other stakeholders on the need to come up with sustainable framework on addressing the prevailing solutions threatening our national unity. The Envoy wants to remind us all that peace is not just the absence of war or conflict. Peace is the presence of justice, quality, and mutual respect. As Nigerian youth, we have the power to lead this change. Let us not allow ourselves to be divided along tribal lines. Instead, let us work together to cultivate a culture of peace, one that values our diversity, encourages dialogues, and builds a future where everyone, regardless of tribe, can thrive. Thank you. Signed, Ambassador Kehinde Sodipo, Envoy, UK, Ireland, and Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And then I would like to begin my speech with 3 very interesting quotes I saw in an article I was reading while preparing for the summit. The first one is by Mother Teresa. She said, "Peace begins with a smile." And then Aristotle also said, Aristotle said, and I quote, "It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace." And then the third one by Mitch Albom is when he said, "You have peace," an old woman said, "when you make it yourself." So yes, these were very interesting, and I thought to share with us today. So this year's theme, that's the cultivating a habit of peace, a culture of peace. It tells us to actively shape a world where peace is rooted in sustainability and a planet where people can thrive together. And then also, peace cannot be achieved in isolation. It requires cooperation, dialogue, and unwavering commitment to human dignity and humanity, as our guest speaker mentioned earlier, as being a very important factor in creating peace. Yes, and then I would like to throw to the audience, if anyone would like to say something regarding peace. As Nigerians, I think we're going through a very interesting time right now where, I think everybody is angry. I think there's an absence of peace in Nigeria because, I was telling my sister earlier, I said growing up we had more peace compared to now. I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that. So, yes, I think we should all pray for Nigeria and pray for the world peace. Thank you very much. Nobody wants to say anything about peace? Because I thought this is a youth summit, we're not old people here, we're supposed to be vibrant. Because in the last meeting we had a conversation about being a youth being a feeling, not age. So I don't know if we agree with age, that age is just a number. So you guys, please say something. I think he has something to say.
Yeah, I can say that peace is crucial in a nation because it helps to stabilize the government in order not to be involved in conflicts and a whole lot of things. So the growth of a country, both in development, innovation, and the rest of it, I think it starts with peace. Yeah. Once a country has peace, there will be more of stability and development in the country.
So I think we should all start by smiling. As Mother Teresa says, since that's the way to begin having peace. So thank you very much. I'm going to do a closing prayer. This report. Okay, we're going to do that. We're still going to be here for a bit longer. Okay, so there'll be appointment letters and certificate presentation.
Please, from our schedule, please. We disrupted a bit our schedule because of envoy request. Please, our next agenda is peace ambassador appointment letter and certificate presentation. So. So the first letter is notice of nomination as the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Peace Ambassador. And this letter has been drafted officially from our organization to Engineer Ogazechi Chikezia Ogbonna, Convener Child Plus Africa, 20 Holy Ghost Avenue, Irebo, Port Harcourt, River State, Nigeria. Dear sir, notice of nomination as the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Peace Ambassador. It is my pleasure to inform you that the Board of Trustees and the National Secretariat of the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria have kindly selected and nominated you for an appointment as the Noble Organization Peace Ambassador in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This appointment and prestigious honor is a recognition and appreciation of your valued and immense contribution in taking children off the streets and provision of quality and free education to the children through your organization, Child Plus Africa, in River State, which breeds peace and promotes the Goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UNSDGs, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The official appointment letter and certificate will be presented to you in the United Nations International Day of Peace Summit in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Saturday, 21st September 2024. Congratulations, signed and sealed, Ambassador Dr. Eze Ihuchukwumerezika, President. Letter of appointment as the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Peace Ambassador. Engineer Ogaziechi Chekezia Ugonna, Convener, Child Plus Africa, 20 Holy Ghost Avenue, Irebo, Port Harcourt, River State, Nigeria. Dear sir, the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria wishes to congratulate you on your appointment as Peace Ambassador. The United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Board of Trustees and the National Secretariat officially approve and acknowledge your appointment and honor as Peace Ambassador. Your appointment as United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Peace Ambassador is a recognition and appreciation of your valued and immense contributions in taking children off the streets and provision of quality and free education to the children through your organization Child Plus Africa in River State, which brings peace and promotes the goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UNSDGs, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your appointment as the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria Peace Ambassador officially takes effect on the United Nations International Day of Peace, September 21, 2024. Congratulations. Signed and sealed, Ambassador Dr. Eze Ihuchukwumerezika, President, United Nations Youth Association Nigeria. Thank you. United Nations Youth Association Nigeria. This is the certificate. The United Nations Youth Association Nigeria, UNYA-NIGERIA Board of Trustees, and the National Secretariat officially appoint and honor Engineer Ogaziechi Chekezia Ugonna, Convener Child Plus Africa, as Peace Ambassador of the United Nations Youth Association Nigeria for taking children off the streets and back to school in River State through his organization, Child Plus Africa, which promotes the Goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UNSDGs, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Signed, Ambassador Dr. Eze Ihuchukwumerezika, President, United Nations Youth Association Nigeria. On this day, United Nations Day of Peace, September 21, 2024. So we'll start with the nomination letter, then the appointment letter.
It's inside.
Are you
Thank you. I want to read this speech. Okay. I think I don't know what to say, but some of the things we do not start them with the intention of being honored or the intention of receiving awards. But when you're honored, it's something to be happy about, something to be very, very, I think I'm highly honored and I'm very, very happy. I don't know, I don't have much to say, but I just want to thank God for this. And I dedicate this award to all the children that are still on the streets that we need to get back to the classroom. Thank you.
Somebody has asked for just 5 minutes to present something to us, if we don't mind. It's not going to take a while, is it?
No.
It's not going to be just a minute.
I actually
To maintain peace. If we say no, there wouldn't be peace.
I wrote a short piece on peace. It won't take our time. Okay. My name is Emmanuel. The quest for peace behooves us to release ourselves wholly into the judicious use of peace mechanisms and efforts that ensure we dwell in a serene and tranquil world. While certain regions of the world seem to be locked in never-ending battles and wars of supremacy, and the inability to find a common ground or settle differences bedevils them, we as agents of peace are imbued with the right to make peace a reality. We are aware that ensuring peace comes with diplomatic execution and prowess to first cease hostilities. These, as time goes on, are some of the skills and tools we ought to adopt to make peace happen. It will not be easy, but it is definitely worth it. And peace in its true underworkings begins with all of us. So be peace and peace out. Thank you.
Our next agenda is closing speech by the United Nations UNYA-NIGERIA Secretary General. The speech will be presented by Ambassador Yasmin Mafari, the Deputy Secretary General of United Nations Youth Association Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. As we come to the end of this impactful summit, I stand before you, I sit before you, filled with hope and new sense of purpose. Today has been more than just a gathering, it has been a collective journey towards understanding, empathy, and action. I feel truly honored on behalf of United Nations Youth Association Nigeria to express sincere appreciation of your participation and engagement and dedication to this esteemed organization. Today we have heard insightful presentations and thought-provoking discussions that highlight both the challenges and the opportunities ahead of us. We came together from various corners of the nation, united by a single vision, which is a world where peace is not just a distant dream, but a living reality. The conversations we have had today make it abundantly clear that peace is not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice, equality, dialogue, and mutual respect. The theme of this summit, which is cultivating a culture of peace, reminds us that peace is a process, not an event. It requires consistent nurturing, patience, and dedication. Each of us here has a role to play in that process, whether through policy, advocacy, education, or small but meaningful actions we take in our daily lives. As we leave this summit, let us carry with us the knowledge that peace begins with us. It begins in our homes, in our schools, in our communities, in our nations, and in our restaurants as well. And it begins in how we treat one another, how we resolve differences, and how we build inclusive systems that respect the dignity of every person. The work of peace building does not end today. It in fact begins anew with each of us empowered by new ideas, strategies, and commitments we've shared here. Together we can forge a future where peace is not just a goal, but a global culture. A culture where every voice is heard, every life is valued, and every opportunity for collaboration is seized. Let us be the change makers who turn this vision into a reality. I am confident that with the spirit of solidarity and hope that we have fostered here, we are on the right path. Thank you once again for your time, your contributions, and your commitment to peace. Let us live here inspired, determined, and ready to make a difference. To the organizers, the speakers, to the members, to the executives, our guest speaker, thank you so much. And your voices have not only enriched this event, but also paved a way for real sustainable change. So together, let's cultivate a culture of peace. Thank you. The next on our agenda is refreshments and group photograph. I don't need to wear like somebody like Hannah, I don't know how she wants to put it over her what she's wearing, the t-shirt. I don't think I will.
So, we're going to take a refreshment before we photograph. So, see that on their way, I will take a photograph before refreshment.
Wow, you say it's not here.
No, they're here.
Okay.
They're here.
Let's continue.
Okay, with refreshment.
I'm thinking it's better with
Okay, please let's take the group photograph before the refreshment. Why do you say? Hold on. Sit down, dude. Okay. Here, we have to present official identity card. So, sir, this is official identity card from United Nations. Hello. Do that in I want please. You guys are meant to do this thing before we come in. Go now. Okay. So we're presenting the official identity card as our official ambassador. We are meant to officially appear with our identity card. Yes, and our currency, our t-shirts, we have. So we have to provide all these things for you. So this is the identity card. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're not going to appear. Yes. let's start with the cap. Yeah, this is our cap. United Nations Youth Association Nigeria. So, these are our checks. United Nations Youth Association Nigeria.
Thank you.
So let's enjoy our meal. Thank you so much. So please sit so that you guys can.
Thank you.